is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
There's a certain kind of purchase that raises some questions. A new set of golf clubs when you don't play golf. A boat in a landlocked state. And then there's this. A 55-pound industrial incinerator capable of burning at 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit, delivered to a $20,000 a month Hollywood Hills rental occupied by a 20-year-old pop star. A pop star who, according to investigators, is now a suspect in the death of a 14-year-old girl whose dismembered remains were found in the trunk of his Tesla. I don't know. Is this like a Prime Day deal? A 1,600 degree incinerator, half off. Damn, we need one of those. You know those nights where it's like you had a little bit too much Cabernet or a little too many Captain and Cokes or whatever your poison may be, and you're like, I feel like shopping. Incinerator. Let's roast some marshmallows or people. To be clear, David has not been arrested or charged with any crime in connection with Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. It is he is presumed innocent. But investigators, according to multiple law enforcement sources, are viewing him as a suspect, and the evidence emerging from his former residence is raising a few questions that demand answers. You got questions, we got answers. They're going and finding old Radio Shack people and going, what about the incinerator? You used to work at Radio Shack. No, you don't have anything to do about this, but you got questions, we got answers. I'd love one of your answers. Why did he buy, allegedly, an incinerator that can go at 1,600 degrees for the home? Who is buying this? What do you need to cook at 1,600 degrees at home? Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe some farming. Maybe there's something there. Are you farming small animals, and when they die, rather than bury them, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I certainly don't know why they would need one. Private investigator Steve Fischer dropped this revelation just the other day on Twitter, on X, finally clarifying what he meant weeks ago when he described finding farm items at D4VD's, at David's rather former residence. Items that had no business being in a home in the Hollywood Hills. Maybe that's right. Maybe that, he went to farm. My mind kind of went to farm. I don't know why it would go to farm, but I can't think of any logical reason what you're doing with an incinerator. Love that. I didn't even know you could buy something like that for the home. There's probably a killer out there right now going, holy shit, that exists? Well, thank you, Hidden Killers. You're welcome. Don't do what you're going to do. One of those items he now confirms was this thing. It was called a DR burn cage incinerator. Still in the box. Never open, in case you want to pop it up on Marketplace and make your money back. Delivered under a false name, but accepted at the property. Not to give the defense any sort of, tips. Wrong address. They delivered it to the wrong house. Somebody else must have ordered it. See, it's not even our name. This happens all the time. I get boxes from my neighbors. I get this or that. It wasn't ours even. We didn't even open it. We didn't want it. There's your excuse. Unless, of course, they are looking at the digital receipts and find a purchase made by one of the people involved here, and it happens to list DR 1,600 degree incinerator on it. Then you got a few more hoops to jump through. Let's talk about what a 1,600 degree incinerator means. Human cremations typically performed around 1,400. This device burns 200 degrees hotter than what's required to reduce a human body to ash. And here's a detail that makes it harder to explain away. Incinerators like this are actually illegal to operate within Los Angeles County city limits. Now, it is Los Angeles County city limits. There's a lot of things that there's laws against. where you got to get a permit for this and a permit for that permit, and they get a permit for the permit for putting on the solar panel to your outhouse. It may take 7 to 12 years for that permit of the permit for that permit, and then the inspection for the permit, but you need to get a permit for the inspection of the permit. You know what I'm talking about. There is no legitimate residential purpose for owning one of these in the Hollywood Hills. None. Unless you're operating a crematory. I don't know. Maybe the music industry was just he wasn't feeling it. He's like, you know what? I'm turning a leaf. Tomorrow, no more romantic homicide. It's the official David and Sons crematorium. Highly unlikely, but there you go. There's another possible path for your defense. You're welcome. Fischer, who was hired by the homeowner to investigate after David vacated the property, posted some questions worth considering. Why would a 55-pound burn cage be delivered to a private residence instead of directly to a prop designer or production house or crematorium? Jackie Fulford in the Adelson case. They got to get down to Florida. Really wrong place. But Jackie Fulford, that was the attorney for Donna Adelson who operated out of a crematorium. That you could explain away. Unless this attorney, maybe here's your third option, this attorney, we're really stretching here. This attorney or somebody, the homeowner, I don't know, somebody saw that and went, damn. Jackie Fulford she's got a great side hustle going on over here with the crematorium thing. I'm going to do that too. Oh, wait. All of this would have taken place before that trial. So, probably not going to work out. So why would it be ordered before departing on an extended world tour? And why was it never used in any way, shape, or form? Do you need it for a music video? Is it part of the creative process? Is it going to be standing there in your next one where you're not putting a body in the trunk, you're incinerating it in the Hollywood Hills home? I don't know. Throwing it out there. Some people online have already floated the music video prop defense. David's aesthetic is dark. His breakout hit is called Romantic Homicide. His videos feature bodies, blood, trunks. But Fischer's right to push back on that theory. If you're a professional artist with a label and production teams, props go to the production facilities. They don't get shipped under fake names to your personal crash pad weeks before you leave the country. A crash pad where there's a missing girl and allegedly a body that might be underneath the popsicles. The LAPD, for what it's worth, did not seize the burn cage during their September 17th search warrant because it was unused. It apparently wasn't considered relevant to the criminal investigation. Fischer acknowledged this, but he also makes a point that's hard to dismiss. Given that Celeste Rivas Hernandez remains were ultimately found in the Tesla trunk, the presence of an incinerator at the same residence associated with that vehicle necessarily raises questions about intent. Intent. That's the word Fischer used. Not proof, not evidence, intent. He's a private investigator. He's not an attorney. So again, it's words being used by a person where the words don't necessarily matter all that much in a legal sense, but in a let's talk about this and figure out what the hell's going on sense, it does mean a lot. And Fischer says there were additional items found alongside the burn cage, items that could be used in conjunction with an incinerator. Well, what did they sell in addition? But wait, there's more. He hasn't specified what they are, but the picture emerging from that Hollywood Hills rental is getting harder to look away from. Let's talk about what's been happening on the 13th floor of the Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center in downtown Los Angeles. That's where the grand jury meets. And over the past 2 weeks, the proceedings in this case have been anything but quiet. Robert Morgenroth testified for 3 consecutive days. If you don't know that name, here's the short version. He's the general manager of Mogul Vision, DVD's record label. He's also president of Zara Brothers Travel, the company that handled David's touring. In other words, he's Not some distant associate. He's inner circle, day to day, the guy who would have known what was happening and when. And according to multiple witnesses in the courthouse hallway, he walked out of that grand jury room and started talking to his attorney loud enough for a dozen people to hear. What he reportedly said was this: Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, the prosecutor presenting the case, was, quote, very pushy on why he didn't call the police. His response, according to those who overheard, quote, I said I feel like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour. We don't know exactly what Morgenroth knew or when he knew it. We don't know what preceded Silverman's question, but the fact that a deputy DA is pressing a record executive on why he didn't contact law enforcement tells you something about the scope of the investigation. They're not just looking at David. They're examining everyone around him. They're asking who knew what, who did what, and who may have looked the other way. And then there's the witness who won't talk. Yeah. Deputy DA Silverman came out of the grand jury room visibly frustrated the other day. She approached attorney Evan Janess, the same attorney who represents Morgenroth, and told her she was going to ask the judge for a body attachment order. That's a legal mechanism to arrest someone and compel them to testify. The target, an unidentified female witness who failed to show up for her scheduled testimony. We don't know who this woman is. We don't know her connection to David or the case, but the fact that she shares counsel with Morgenroth is notable. And the fact that prosecutors are willing to arrest her to get her on the stand suggests they believe she has information that actually matters. This isn't a case where people are lining up to cooperate exactly. This is a case where those in the inner circle appear to be protecting something, circling the wagons, and the DA's office is responding with subpoenas. And now the threat of custody, the threat of arresting her and forcing her into that courtroom to testify. You don't see that very often. Meanwhile, the institutions that are supposed to be working together on this case are reportedly at odds. Criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos, who's been covering the case closely on the Two Angry Men podcast, revealed something unusual in a recent interview with Los Angeles Magazine. He said the LAPD and the LA County Medical Examiner's Office are at complete loggerheads. The ME's office, according to Garagos, wanted to be transparent with the public. The LAPD pushed back hard, securing a court order to place a security hold on the case, blocking the release of autopsy findings, cause of death, and any details from the medical examiner's report. Garagos called it unprecedented. This is not standard, he said. You don't normally see the medical examiner trying to be transparent and law enforcement pushing back. The official explanation that is released right now is that releasing details could jeopardize the investigation. And that might be true. But it also means that 3 months after Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body was found, the public still doesn't know how she died. We know she was dismembered. We know her remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. We know the LAPD has disputed reports that her body was frozen, though a source connected to the ME's office told TMZ the opposite. What we don't have is a confirmed cause of death, and without that, prosecutors face an uphill battle in filing formal charges. But the digital evidence, according to Garagos, that's where investigators have made significant progress. Garagos has said publicly that investigators have built an amazing timeline using phone records, cloud extractions, IP data, geolocation from social media, and Tesla telemetry. Modern Teslas collect extensive data, routes, speeds, stops, and in some cases, cabin footage. When you pair that with cell tower pings and app data, you can potentially reconstruct who was in the car, when they got in, and where they went. And where David allegedly went, according to multiple sources, was a remote stretch of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night in the spring of 2025. He reportedly spent several hours there Both Garagos and TMZ's Harvey Levin have independently confirmed with sources that investigators believe Celeste's body may have been in the vehicle during that trip. And here's the part that matters for the second suspect angle. Digital evidence allegedly places another person in the car as well. That second suspect, whose name has not been released, is believed to have been involved before, during, and after Celeste's death, according to Garagos. Not necessarily as the person who killed her, but as someone who may have assisted in the dismemberment. Someone who may have helped move the body. Someone who potentially knows what happened in that remote stretch of California in the dead of night. Authorities reportedly do not believe Celeste was buried in Santa Barbara. The working theory, according to sources, is that her body may have been taken there, dismembered, and then transported back to Los Angeles, where it eventually ended up in the trunk of David's Tesla, parked on Bluebird Avenue in the Hollywood Hills, less than half a mile from his rental. The car sat there for weeks. It got ticketed. It got towed. And then on September 8th, one day after what would have been Celeste's 15th birthday, workers at the Hollywood impound lot reported a foul smell. When officers opened the trunk, they found her remains in a black garbage bag. And through all this, David has exercised his right to remain silent. Which is kind of amazing, because so many cases, especially celebrity cases and such, there's so much leakage. There's so much little bits and pieces that come out. His attorney, I'm assuming, told him to just shut the F up. And my God, this man listened. Let that be a lesson to everybody else out there committing crimes. When your attorney tells you to shut the F up, shut the F up. And again, we're not saying he has anything to do with this, but anything he could have said or done would have only fueled the 1,600-degree incinerator fire that is this case. Not a statement. Not a press release, not even a carefully worded denial through his attorney, Blair Burke, the same high-powered defense lawyer who's represented Harvey Weinstein, Lindsay Lohan, and Mel Gibson. Remaining silent is his constitutional right, and retaining experienced counsel is what anyone facing serious allegations should do. But in the court of public attention, the silence, it's been conspicuous, or probably a more appropriate word for those following the case, annoying as F. Again, that's not to say it's the wrong move, but people who want information, they're like, come on, give us something. He canceled his tour. He shelved his album. He transferred his Texas properties to his mother's name. He moved out of the Hollywood Hills rental, and then he slipped out of public view. So, actions do sometimes speak louder than words. Sources told NBC Los Angeles last month that David has not been cooperative with investigators, contradicting earlier statements from his representatives that he was fully cooperating with authorities. The LAPD has reportedly not been able to interview him. This is a guy who built his career online, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. He lived in public, and now with a 14-year-old girl he allegedly knew, a girl who reportedly lived with him, who had a matching tattoo on her finger, who appeared in photos and videos alongside him, found dead in his car. He has chosen not to speak publicly, and is his right. LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell went on Good Day LA last week and was asked point blank if David is a suspect. He would not answer. He said confirming or denying anything could jeopardize the investigation, but law enforcement sources have already told multiple outlets, TMZ, NBC, ABC, that David is being viewed as a suspect, that this is being treated as a homicide, that they believe he helped. That's according to sources and those outlets. The grand jury is hearing testimony. Witnesses are being compelled to appear. A record executive have been grilled about why he didn't call the cops. An incinerator capable of reaching cremation temperatures and then some was found unopened in the suspect's former residence. And somewhere in all of this, And the Tesla data, the phone records, the security footage, investigators reportedly believe they have the pieces to reconstruct what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She was 13 when she went missing. She would have turned 15 the day before her body was found. And right now, those who may know what happened have retained counsel, exercised their right to remain silent, or in at least one case, face being compelled to testify. The question now is whether this mounting evidence will translate into formal charges, and if so, how wide will the net be cast? Give me your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. Really curious to hear your opinions on this. If you're not already there, search Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. That's where you will find us on YouTube. If you wouldn't mind, please press subscribe while you're there so you don't miss any of our reporting on this. And you're helping us, too. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And my God, it looks like we're going to do it. I didn't know if we would, but if you can help, we are just a few thousand away now. Literally. Last I checked, we're around like 96. So if you can, press subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. It helps other folks know we exist, lets them find our videos and our reporting. So that little signal you send out by pressing subscribe makes a big difference. If you find this valuable, I don't want you to press subscribe if you don't like it. But if you do, please do. And another one, if you're on Apple Podcasts, maybe you don't watch us on YouTube. Maybe you're on the podcast platforms. Thank you. Please, on Apple Podcasts, a quick review there. Some kind words would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much in advance for your time on doing that. Seriously. All right. Until next time, my name is Tony Bruschi. We will talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.